Ladies and gentlemen, the HDB resale price index has just hit a new high, and a lot of people are crying murder at the HDB price appreciation. Should we be upset, or should we be concerned, or should we be happy? Well, today we're going to analyze this, and I'm going to give you a bombshell about my opinion about this. Let's watch on, shall we? So the HDB resale price index have climbed 9.7% in 2024. That's almost 10%. And the rise is double that of 2023. And the reason for this rapid rise is because there was a supply squeeze and there was a robust demand that fueled index growth. Although the price increase is lower than 2022 10.4%, I consider it almost the same. But in short, we have got really year after year price increase of the HDB resale prices, and that's drive a lot of people very concerned. At the same time, the private housing has risen about 2.3% quarter on quarter, which is a very high increase for a quarter. So the full year price increase is about 3.9%, which is far behind the level of the HDB resale price. So between quarter one 2020, which is an outbreak of COVID, until now, prices has already increased by 50%. That's phenomenal for a 50% increase because I consider real estate generally a leverage asset because most people will leverage when they buy a house because they simply can't afford to pay for the whole house. So as a result, when you have an increase in 50%, the returns are generally multiplied by the factor of the leverage. So the increase is very phenomenal for HDB resale flat. And if you were to track over the same whole period between quarter one 2020 to quarter four 2024, the increase has been about 2.6% each quarter, which means that's on average about 10% a year. That's very phenomenal. And I quote Orange Tea chief researcher Miss Sun for pointing this out. Now, before we say that this is unprecedented, no. In 1991, Q4 to 1996, that's a total of 5 years, prices have increased by almost 300%, three times, averaging an increase of 14% per quarter. So interestingly, if you were to look at assets, when we say an average of, let's say, 9%, 10%, 3%, 4%, whatever, is usually a long period of flat growth and suddenly a huge spike for whatever reason, and then flat growth or dip or whatsoever, then huge spike again. So Singapore property prices have seen two huge spikes in history. That's 1991 to 96, and now, of course, post-COVID period. So the current price increase pales in comparison to the more dramatic spikes witnessed in 1990. That's largely because this time around the government is smarter. They put a lot of cooling measures as much as possible, but that did not stop the rapid price increase. It just didn't go up as much as the 1990s period, but it still went up a lot. And the main reason why there's a rapid price increase, according to ERA Chief Executive Eugene Lim, is because there is a very strong demand and the tighter supply because fewer flats meet the minimum occupation period last year because of COVID constraint a few years ago. And this problem is going to continue next year as well. The net demand for HDB resale flat is going to be very strong as well, given the tight flat supply. Before we say this again, this is a repeated information. I know a lot of people say, but HDB $1 million resale flat is only a small proportion. It is no longer a small proportion. More than 1,000 HDB resale flats are sold over $1 million. And I'm not grumbling because I'm sitting on one right now, but this is a point of interest that is no longer that small anymore. If you consider those that are $1 million or more and those around $1 million region, that's a huge amount right now. So HDB resale flat are very, very valuable right now. In 2025, HDB will attempt to supply a lot more BTO. They have earmarked almost 20,000 BTOs, and this hopefully will ease some of the supply constraints. Of all these units, about 4,000 of them, 3,008 will have a waiting time of 3 years or less, and that's great. So between 2021 to 2025, over 100,000 BTO flats will be launched. That's already surpassed the HDB's commitment to launch 100,000 units over a 5-year period. An interesting remark made by the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister for once actually spelled out very clearly that our HDB BTO prices are not priced according to resale flat prices. So there's a lot of people concerned, including mine as well, that when the HDB resale flat increases, it drives up because of the land prices, the valuation methodology and things like that. It drives up the HDB new flat prices. But the Prime Minister have outright said the HDB BTO prices are priced according to income and not resale price. And that's a great news. So as a result, HDB BTO prices will always stay affordable. Just to deep dive into some of the HDB BTO prices, I've actually dug out some of the BTO prices. I was trying to find those more recent ones. So we have some in Hougang in February. They'll price, let's look at just the four-room flat, okay? 300 or $400,000. I think by today's standard is considered affordable. And if you look at Pongo, flat prices is four-room flat is between 300 to 429,000. Five-room flat between 400 to 500,000. So it is quite affordable. If we were to look at Bedok North and Bedok South launched last year, the four-room flats are between $500,000 to 600 over thousand. The five-room flats are between 600 to 700,000. It sounds expensive by my standard, but I think right now income has gone up. We're now on average one household $15,000 income relative to these kind of flat prices. I think they can well afford it. And somewhere in Tanglin Hop, which is a very good location, four-room flats are between $500,000 to 700,000. I think they are still quite affordable by Singaporean standard. Now you look at the prices of BTO prices. Let's take a look at comparison of new flat prices versus resale flat prices, shall we? So this is somewhere in Bukit Batok called West Brickview. Four-room flats is between about 300 400,000, where resale flats are between 500 to 600 over thousand. So there is a price gap about 200,000 or so. If you look at five-room flat, it's about $500,000 to 600,000. Here is about 600,000 to 800,000. So there is a huge price differential. If we look at Kallang or Central Region, new flat prices are between, for foreign flats, between 500 to 700,000. But if you were to compare to the resale flat around those regions, it's between 800 to 1.2 million. Huge price gap difference, okay? So this price gap difference is something that is eye-popping, but I think it is actually something for young Singaporeans to take advantage of. To the young newlywed couples, first timers, I say this. Please do not buy HDB resale flats. Why do you do that? When you buy HDB resale flats, you're paying a very, very high price. I know you get some kind of subsidy whatsoever, but it is something that you're missing out a huge opportunity. When you buy a BTO flat, you enjoy a huge price differential between what the government gives you as a BTO prices versus what is out there as a resale price. That huge differential builds your wealth. And why do you want to give it up? I understand there is timing issue. It takes a long time to wait for it whatsoever. Find your mom and dad on your father's side or mother's side to co-bunk together and things like that, or rent a room or something in the time being. But don't give up that huge differential that the government is giving you. For the resale flats, who should buy it? Leave it to the condos and landed property downgraders. These are people who sold their condo at millions of dollars, landed property at millions of dollars, and they decided to move down to a smaller flat. I consider that a big lifestyle change, but some people do that. Give it to them to pay the high price, $1 million price, and things like that. They have the money to do it. For the HDB first timers, enjoy the huge price differential wealth creation opportunity that the government is giving you. Another group of people that they should buy the HDB resale flats are the PRs. They are not Singaporeans. They don't serve the national service. They contribute not as high as we Singaporeans did. So they have to pay a higher price for school fees, for medical, and for HDB resale flat as well. They can't enjoy the HDB new flats, the BTO prices. And a lot of them, to be frank, come generally well-to-do as well. Let them pay the higher price, right? HDB first-timers, Singaporeans, please do not go and waste your money. Do not waste this wealth creation opportunity that government is giving you and go and buy a resale flat. Go buy a BTO flat. Now, I've seen a lot of people on social media very upset over the HDB resale price appreciation. I was very concerned in the past because I was afraid that the new flat prices will also rise in tandem. Now, since Prime Minister Wong actually gave the commitment that it will not, you only rise in tandem with income, which means that now we have a case where we create a huge price differential between BTO flats and HDB resale flats. So should we be concerned about HDB resale flat appreciation? Well, it depends, right? It depends which group of people you are. For me, as an economist and a financial educator, I'm always very concerned. Does the HDB resale flat appreciation drives up cost of living? To some extent, I think it would, but maybe it's not as bad if the HDB BTO prices are well controlled. The second question is this: are Singaporeans, I say again, Singaporeans, emphasis Singaporeans, are we priced out of a place to stay? Whether is it myself or my children, right? And if the answer is no, because BTO flats will always be affordable, then the level of concern should be less. Now, on the reverse, does it increase the wealth of the average Singaporeans? I've said this many times before. I think the owner-occupied house is, to me, paper wealth. But many people enjoy this sense of paper wealth. So as a result, people feel actually their wealth increase with this HDB price appreciation. So be it. So the question really is, are there any segments in Singapore that are being disadvantaged by the HDB price appreciation? If there are, in the past were the singles, but I think singles right now can buy some BTO flats as well. So right now, I cannot see any segment being disadvantaged by the new rules. So I think that this HDB resale price appreciation, given Prime Minister Wong's commitment that BTO prices will always be affordable, then I think the concern is somewhat less. So, would you agree with me? To many Singaporeans, are you happy or are you upset? There's a lot of people they are very upset. I was one that's very upset, but now I, frankly speaking, have a change of opinion because there was a commitment now given by the Prime Minister. As a result, no. Let me know your thoughts, whether you think that this is something we should be concerned of. Let me hear your comments in the YouTube channel or in the 165 channel where we have 30 over 1,000 people sharing some of their views. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye-bye.